New videos every day.
Chronic pain workshop today, and first of all, most of y'all know me here, but I'm going to just introduce myself. My name is Joseph Stickland. I'm an applied clinical nutritionist here in Austin, and usually when I say I'm an applied clinical nutritionist, the first question is, what's that, right? And I understand. I'll go ahead and answer that straight away. An applied clinical nutritionist is someone who looks at health. You've probably heard the statement, you are what you eat, or the body heals itself. And that's true, but there are some people out there that have different conditions that they hear that and it just makes them mad because it doesn't seem to go that way. So what an applied clinical nutritionist does is looks at the different lifestyle choices that a person has, specifically with food and nutrition, and then we apply nutrition, food, and supplementation towards affecting better overall health. Next thing I want to do is tell you why I got into nutrition. When I was about 19 or 20, I got bigger. You know, I was about 232 pounds, and I got sick. I had staph infections, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I went through 5 courses of antibiotics. Got to the point where I couldn't go to the bathroom correctly. And I was like, there's got to be a better way. I asked the medical doctor, I said, hey, look, you know, what do I do? You know, why me? This is not a problem that a 20-year-old person should have. And he looked at me and said, son, I don't know. But if you take this antibiotic, then it'll go away. And it would go away for a while, but then it would just come right back. So what essentially I did is I was like, okay, this guy's not inherently evil. He just doesn't know what to do for me. So I did some research and I started looking around at, you know, what to do. And I read Fast Food Nation by Eric Schlesinger. It's a expose basically on the fast food industry, and it takes it from the farm all the way to your plate at McDonald's. It's a very interesting read, and so that kind of opened my eyes a little bit to, okay, maybe there's an alternative out there. And long story short, I found a doctor who does muscle testing. Said I was allergic to chocolate. I was like, that doesn't make any sense, but I'll try it. I don't have anything to lose. So I stopped eating chocolate, and I actually used some supplements to help my immune system, and I got better. It didn't handle it fully, but I was like, there's something to this, because for the first time, you know, I'm not getting a staph infection, you know, constantly. So I went to some courses, took some courses in muscle testing, nutrition response testing. I actually researched the different kinds, because there's all kinds of different kinds of muscle testing. So I researched the different kinds and found nutrition response testing, and enrolled in some courses. And I actually had to teach people around me what to do in order to find out what was going on with me, because there was nobody here locally that did nutrition response testing. So I would go to a course, and then I would say, Carly, she's my sister, come here. I just learned this, you know, do this and do this. Turns out we figured out that I was allergic to tomatoes. I stopped that, and you know, it's been about 5 years since I've had a staph infection. So that definitely was what handled me. But then I started working with family members and friends. I was working at a chiropractic clinic at the time. And that's kind of what led me to be a nutritionist. I never planned on it. As a child, I was thinking the only thing I didn't want to do is work in a doctor's office or wear a lab coat. But here I am wearing a lab coat, right? So anyway, I guess what you resist, you become. That's what I've learned. But in any case, that's why I got into nutrition. Tonight, I know this is a meeting about chronic pain. So I wanted to talk about what I know and what I've experienced with chronic pain patients. There's quite a different variety of diseases that this falls under, and there's so many different reasons why people have pain, and there's a lot of different causes. But one of the main things I've noticed is that it definitely seems to have increased. You know, when I was a child, I mean, I never really saw these pain management centers that you see now. I mean, you see a lot more of those now. So it's definitely something that has increased and become more of an issue. Either that or, I don't know, maybe there was morphine and that's what people did. I don't know. But it's definitely changed, and there's a lot more options out there now. Of course, there's a lot, not only from the medical standpoint, but there's just a lot of different treatment options and a lot of different things available that haven't been in the past. But one of the main problems about pain, just in general, is because it hurts so much and it constantly reminds us that it's there, a lot of times we have a tendency to lose focus as to what the problem is, and we kind of start shifting our focus to the pain. And the problem with that is the pain is a mechanism that the body uses to tell you that there's something wrong. There's some underlying problem that there's a reason why that's there. And if you're driving down the road and the oil light comes on, the oil light isn't the problem, right? The problem is that it's leaking oil. It could be leaking oil, or it could be that maybe it's just burning oil. There's something going on, and it's not the oil light. So you wouldn't put, tape over the oil light. It wouldn't be a solution long term. It might make you feel better for a little while, but it's just not gonna fix it long term, right? So, in that regard, I found that alternative ways of dealing with pain and looking at kind of what the underlying cause is a good method if you can figure out what it is. Okay. And unfortunately, with an oil light, it's a little bit easier to analyze or quote, diagnose or whatever you want to call it, because it's the oil, right? Whereas pain is just your body telling you, ah, and you're hurting, So in that regard, it's a little bit harder of a problem to figure out. But in general, there's several different types of pain. One, there's muscle pain, over-exercising, muscles cramping up, so there's one sort there. Another type of pain is nerve pain, and that can come from a variety of different methods. It could be accidents that the person has, and there's a lot of different sources for nerve pain, but nerve pain is definitely one of the more painful types of pain that there is. Another type of pain is joint pain, covered under arthritis. There's several different kinds, but in general, that deals with inflammation or an immune response in the body. Another type of pain is circulatory pain. Blood flow is not going to a certain area in the body. That'll certainly cause a person to hurt. So in looking at pain, it's important to figure out which type it is. Is it muscular? Is it nerve? Is it circulatory? Or is it joint? And once we look at that, it becomes a little easier to break down, because then we can see what's going on in the body. Now, chronic pain is defined as pain that lasts for longer than 3 months. So a person could be just in pain very short term, and it wouldn't be chronic pain, but if that pain then lasts for a long period of time, then you get chronic pain. Okay? Now, one of the main things about pain in general is it usually deals with inflammation. The body, for some reason, some part of the body is, actually I'll read the definition of inflammation here. It's redness, swelling, pain, tenderness, heat, and disturbed function of an area of the body, especially as a reaction of tissues to injurious agents. So there's something, some cause that has made the body react in this way. Okay? So, in fact, nearly all diseases have the thing at the end. It's itis. Conjunctivitis, for instance, is inflammation of the eyelid. And so there's a lot of different diseases that have the itis. And that it generally means inflammation of whatever body part you're talking about. So it's very key in dealing with pain to figure out, what is making the body have inflammation, and why is there inflammation continuing in the body. And in fact, I wanted to show you this board here. One of the things that can happen is if you have organ dysfunction, just in general, let's say a person has an accident and it affects their organ, or they have a nutritional deficiency, their diet doesn't give them a certain nutrient, or just any organ dysfunction, what happens is that increases the nutritional deficiency because the body still doesn't have it, and then that can lead to chronic pain. Same thing is true you have chronic pain for some reason, that can then make you not get the nutrients, and then you can have organ dysfunction. So they can kind of interrelate into a bigger problem. One of the reasons why I pick sugar to pick on is because sugar causes inflammation in the body. So, and you'll see that in here. That's just one of the 146 reasons why sugar is ruining your health, right? So if you're eating sugar on a regular basis and you have pain, it's probably not a good idea because, that is one of the things that can contribute to, the problem. So I'm actually going to go over the sugar quiz, and you don't have to answer out loud. You can just take it to yourself. But on the last page here, I'm going to read down this list, and you just answer for yourself true or false. And I'll let everybody get there.
The very last page.
Yeah, you got it. Okay. You got it then. Excellent. So the first question is, I do not eat refined sugar every day. And refined sugar, is what you find in Coca. Well, actually, no, you don't find it in Coca-Cola. You find high fructose corn syrup, but you used to find it in Coca-Cola. You find it in organic Coca-Cola for sure. You find it in pretty much anything that says sugar on it.
So high fructose corn syrup is not refined?
No, it's refined. It's not what I'm talking about here. It's not sugar. Okay. So, first question, I do not eat refined sugar every day. True or false? Second one, I can go for more than a day without eating some type of sugar-containing food. True or false?
Sugar's in everything.
Well,
It's in the all frozen foods.
it can be for sure. Absolutely. Third question, I never have cravings for sugar, coffee, chocolate, peanut butter, or alcohol. True or false? The next question, I've never hidden candy. I love this one, by the way. I've never hidden candy or other sweets around my home in order to find and eat them later. True or false? That's a true addict right there.
It's getting personal now.
I can stop after eating one piece of candy or one bite of pastry. True or false? Honestly, I can't. I don't know. Next one. There are times when I have no sugar of any kind in my home. True or false? I can go for 3 or more hours without eating and not experience the shakes, fatigue, perspiration, irritability, depression, or anxiety. True or false? I can have candy and other sweets in my home and not eat them. True or false? I do not eat something sweet after each meal. True or false? I rarely drink coffee and eat donuts or sweet rolls for breakfast. True or false? I can go for more than an hour after waking up in the morning without eating. True or false? And then the last one, I can go from one day to the next without drinking a sweetened soft drink. True or false? Okay. And now I'm going to go through the quiz results. This comes from Lick the Sugar Habit by Dr. Nancy Appleton. Okay. If you answered false to more than 4 of the statements, chances are you are probably sugar sensitive. You are probably allergic to sugar and also addicted to it, the same way an alcoholic is addicted to alcohol. You crave sugar, have withdrawal symptoms when you don't get it, and probably feel better for a short time after you've eaten it. In eating sugar to feel better, you are actually making your condition worse. If you answered false to 4 statements or fewer, it doesn't mean you don't have a problem with sugar. You may not be addicted to it, but perhaps you don't quite realize just how much sugar you are eating. Okay? So it's kind of an insidious thing, and it's in a lot of different foods. But certainly you can look at the different things that it does cause here, documented by a doctor here, and look and see how many symptoms you have that correlate to that list, and it might serve as motivation to, stay away from sugar for sure. All right. So the thing about sugar addiction is it something important you want to handle? Okay, and also, how is it affecting your life? I mean, just think if there is this thing that's in a lot of different foods and you're eating it on a regular basis not knowing that it's causing a deeper problem, is that something that is important to handle, and how serious are you about handling it? Is it something that I'd like to do that, or I could watch TV, something like that. How important is it to you? Little kids sugar, and then growing up, and it's a cause for a lot of problems with, hyperactivity and things like that. So it is quite an epidemic problem. And if you are serious about handling it, and getting over the sugar addiction, and it's something that you don't want to have down the road, I just want to let you know there is hope, and I can help. I'm going to demonstrate to you nutrition response testing. Now again, when I was giving my introduction, this is what I used in order to figure out that I was allergic to tomatoes, and then was able to go from there. So George, if you'll come up, I'm going to demonstrate to them. George has been a patient of mine on and off for the last few years, and you're going to hear his testimonial in just a minute. But I'm going to use him as an example of how nutrition response testing works. Okay? So if you'll just put your arm out like that for me. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, good. So basically with nutrition response testing, and some of you might have been exposed to muscle testing in the past, I don't know. But basically, you start with a strong arm, okay? And is everybody here, know about a circuit breaker in their house? Yeah, pretty much. Okay. So you have this panel, and each one of those, if you flip it, then the electricity will go off for a different part of the house, right? Well, muscle testing works a lot in the same way. So you have different reflex points in the body. For instance, here's the thyroid, here's the heart, and we can use that to tell us whether or not the person, if they have a weakness in that area. Okay. So for instance, here's a strong muscle, and if he had a problem with his thyroid, let us say, right here, if it was weak, his arm would get weak. Okay. Now it's not right now, but I'm just giving you a demonstration. So his would be weak if that was an area of weakness, and that would let us know that that is something that we would want to look at, because that's an area of trouble for him. So just like that circuit breaker box, if that's flipped, you're not going to get electricity for that area. So same thing is true here, and that lets us pinpoint exactly what different areas of the body aren't working right. And then that can give us an idea as to, for instance, for chronic pain, what area of the body is not working right, and if so, why. So we're actually using the body to let us know what is going on. And the thing about nutrition response testing, thank you, George, is it really lets us figure out what to do. It gives us kind of a starting point for a person with nutrition. And also, a lot of times with nutrition, I don't know about you, if you've ever gone to a grocery store and they've got all these supplements. You see all these supplements and you go, wow, I heard that one's good, and I heard that one's good, and well, that one looks good too. And it's hard to differentiate what will work for you, because everybody's different, and everybody has a different diet. So nutrition response testing lets us test so we don't have to guess. Typically with nutrition, let's say a person has pain from joints. A lot of times people will say, we'll take glucosamine for that, right? That's a commonly prescribed thing, glucosamine. Well, for some people that works, and for some people it doesn't. It just depends on the person. Some people need that nutrient and some people don't. So nutrition response testing lets us know and takes the guesswork out of it as to whether or not that's going to work for that person. And what that leads us to is design clinical nutrition. So once we figured out what area of the body needs support, then we're able to design a custom nutrition program specific to the individual. In other words, there's not one person in my practice that has the same program. Everybody's on different supplements. In fact, there isn't anybody that is on the same program. And one of the things about this type of work is if you're not a nutritional case, then it's doubtful and unlikely that doing a nutrition program will ever help you. Okay? However, if you are a nutritional case, in my personal experience, there is nothing that will help you as much. What I wanted to do at this point is just have George come up here and just give you his experience with nutrition response testing.
Well, my name is George Weir. I have had, I like using the word had for this. It's pretty cool to be able to say that. I had pretty severe chronic back pain. lower back pain, and I had it for about 15 years. I like to think I'm a fairly young guy. I'm 43 years old. So I would say that in my mid to late 20s, I was in agony, and I didn't know what was causing that, and so I went to a chiropractor. And he adjusted me and popped this and that and gave me a program that he was supposed to do all kinds of things and adjust to my lifestyle and whatnot like that. It didn't help. It didn't help at all, unfortunately. And so I went to see a doctor about it, and he couldn't really help me. There was nothing there. I spent a lot of money. Was what I did. I kept some people in business for a while there. It got so bad that I was when it would flare up from time to time, and it wasn't something that I did or that I moved wrong or something like. It would just flare up, and I would be in agony, and I wouldn't be able to, I'd have to take 3 or 4 days off of work, and I would literally crawl from the couch. For some reason, I couldn't sleep on the bed. Crawl from the couch to the bathroom, and that was rough. So I went to Joseph because I had heard about what he was doing, and he started doing funny things. It was like, raise your arm. Okay. I said, well, okay. Well, I was laying down. He had me raise my arm, and he muscle tested me. And he was back here, touched back here and tested me, and he was like, it's your kidney. Well, what are you talking about? My kidney. And my kidney was probably, I'd say, about 90-95% occluded, one of my kidneys. And that was what was causing the agony in my back. And I just couldn't believe it that he had indicated that was the case. So he said, well, okay, here's your program, and he wrote down some nutritional supplements for me to get. And the most interesting thing about it was that buying all the that list of nutritional supplements was cheaper than any time I'd been to the chiropractor or been to the doctor before. But religiously, I took exactly what he told me to take, and in about a week to a week and a half was gone. The pain was gone, and I found myself I found myself running up a flight of stairs, right, and going, whoa, wait a minute, what was that? That hasn't happened before.
Well, thank you, George. Kind words. And I did. I tested him, and it was his kidneys, and it wasn't in his particular situation. Although the pain was serious and it had gone on for a long time, his problem was more that he needed some drainage. His kidneys were kind of blocked. It was just kind of not letting it all come out, So we just gave him some drainage and that let it come out that way. So it's not always that fast, in fact, a lot of times it's a lot slower than that. But in his case, it went very fast. And the main thing that we're looking at is the overall health of the individual. You really have to have an open mind to try a different approach. It's definitely not the most mainstream of things that are out there. So you have to have an open mind and an approach to your health concerns. And you also must understand that we're restoring your health first and fixing the pain second is a great side effect. Okay? We're looking at what in the body isn't working correctly and then working on a program designed to fix that. Okay, and then affecting a change in the body. And keep in mind that the process is not a quick fix, and generally will take some time, especially the longer a problem's been there, sometimes that can add time to getting a change in that. And the other thing about it is it's very safe and natural. The products that I use, I've got a pamphlet here for you, standard process. You can see the different supplements and that I use, and because it's all whole food, I mean, we're talking, it's as safe as eating broccoli. So I work with children all the way to elderly people. They're, you know, I mean, the average person in America over the age of 65 is on 15 or more different medications. You know, so some of my more elderly people are on quite a few medications, and you know, we can still work with them too because it is, again, whole food, and it is natural. Like I said, they grow it on their farm organically, and so there's no danger of it, you know, interacting or